Well, it looks like Genji was the only game to get a vote, at least at first. Quick side note here, before putting together this video, I was working on a new channel logo, but I don't have any art programs and I'm not good at art myself, so scratch that idea. On with the video. Genji, a game that was recommended to me back when my old videos were way worse than they are today. I had played the game for a couple of hours all the way when it was first recommended to me, and then just never returned to it until only a few months ago. Before we get into the game, I want to briefly mention the developers. Genji was developed by an independent studio called Game Republic, which was founded by a developer named Yoshiki Okamoto, I believe that's how you pronounce it, who had used to work for Capcom and at one point Konami. Today, the Game Republic is no longer active, and was alive for only about 6 years during the mid-2000s. Strangely, they seem to only make games mostly for the Sony systems, with Genji being one of them. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Well, why don't we get into the game? First off, the setup to this game is pretty simple, at least it is to me. The game takes place in Japan, where war has broken out between these clans, one of them being the Heishi? Okay, you know what? I'm not 100% certain on how to pronounce this one, and so that I stop butchering it, I'm just going to refer to them as H. These guys have pretty much won at this point. The H are ruled by some power-hungry jerk who's looking for these special stones called, god damn it, okay, that. Yeah, I'm just gonna put the text on screen. That's it, because I'm not even gonna try. Basically, these special stones make a warrior unusually powerful. Our main hero, Yoshitsune, one I think I can actually get right, finds himself fighting off some H warriors and stumbles onto a village. In this village, there is a special woman who is a priestess who is capable of combining the, stones together to make them even more powerful. So, needless to say, the H have been searching for her. So from there, Yoshitsune pretty much swears to protect this priestess and the village so that the H won't abuse her ability and take over Japan. That's pretty much it. Like I said, it's super simple, and I am a-okay with it. You see the villains do some pretty evil stuff, so you'll want to stop them, and they even have a super badass warrior on their side who becomes madly thirsty for Yoshitsune's blood, creating a fun rivalry between them. Also, Benkei shows up and joins our hero in battle, which is pretty neat. The story is very short as well, and I think the game's short length works to its favor, but I'll get more into that later. Sure, I don't get much out of the characters here, they certainly don't have a lot in terms of personality for me, with the only exception being Keigikyo, the bloodthirsty villain guy. I am so bad with Japanese names, since I found him to be a fun, slightly over-the-top villain. Interestingly, this game is in only Japanese, so I think the voice acting is good. It certainly didn't feel weird or off to me in any way, but I'm not all that familiar with the language to begin with, so again, the voice acting seemed fine. I think that sums it up best for me. The story is just fine, works for what it's going for, and I respect that. Now, right off the bat, I have to say, this game looks really good. The environments are so lush in detail, like all the trees and bushes in the forest, the architecture of the temples, and okay, yeah, a few caves admittedly look kinda bland when compared to the floating rocks and pillars of the second chapter. But man, look how great that water is. Character models are also very well detailed and have smooth animations, and one of my favorite parts of the game is the village that you often visit. First of all, Genji is nicely short, only lasting about 7 to 9 hours, and is only cut up into 3 chapters. In each of these chapters, the village is different, starting off with more of a summer/spring setting, then having a winter setting with some thick snow everywhere, and ending off in the underground. It's nice, and I really find the village to be so cozy and charming. Gameplay-wise, Genji is super simple as an action hack-and-slash title. You visit locations, fight off enemies, and often finish an area with a boss fight. Of course, you can visit the village to buy better armor and weapons, as well as items for healing yourself that can be assigned to a quick select button that's actually really helpful. To begin with, you'll be able to play as Yoshitsune, but it's not too long into the first chapter where Benkei will become available. I'm gonna get this out of the way. Benkei kinda sucks. He's so slow and I hate it. Okay, so to explain this, let's talk about how the combat works. You have a basic strike with one button, and a special strike with another. And here's the thing, special strikes can't really be used in the middle of a combo. This isn't like Dynasty Warriors, where you can combine two types of attacks for some cool but simple combos. Not here. With Yoshitsune, this is fine, as his special strikes are used for dashing or diving into the enemies, and can be quickly and smoothly transitioned into with basic strikes. He's constantly jumping from enemy to enemy and juggling some of them while dodging attacks, though the dodge roll is kinda awkward to pull off since you have to use two buttons to do it. Sorry, I just prefer my dodge roll to be done with one button like in Monster Hunter, but it still works and has a nice amount of iframes to phase through enemy strikes. Again, yes, the combat is super simple, but with Yoshitsune, it's fun and complements the combo system that keeps increasing the more you constantly attack enemies. And I think the higher combos you get, the more EXP you earn. Yeah, you can level up in this game, but it doesn't mean that much, honestly. To increase your attack, defense, and health much better, you'll find these special stones that can sometimes be invisible, but will be informed of their presence due to the controller shaking. Anywho, Benkei. He's so slow, and he can't dodge roll. Sure, he can block, in fact, both characters can block, and he hits like a truck, especially with a special strike, which is a charging swing. I just keep getting hit way too much when playing as him, since he's so huge, which is why I often choose not to play as Benkei. Okay, sure, you have to play as him for a few times, like for a couple boss fights, and it's not the worst thing, but Yoshitsune is so much more entertaining to play as. Speaking of which, boss fights are kind of the highlight of the game. Sure, the first few don't seem too unique from each other, but eventually, you're taking on some powerful and neat samurai warriors, weird monsters, and some witch bitch. Don't get me wrong though, the second to last boss fight is kinda dull, but at least the final boss is so much more satisfying. Lastly, we should talk about this slow attack move that costs you some mana or whatever the blue bar is. Like I said, this slows down time, and when you strike at the right time, you'll be able to do more damage, and it's good to use it in horde attacks. However, what's cooler is that even without this slow time attack, when you strike an enemy just when they're about to attack you'll pull off this awesome deadly slash that's very similar to a mechanic in a certain other PS2 series we'll be talking about next year. To finish things off here, there are some nice endgame bonuses, like a harder difficulty, being able to do New Game Plus, and having access to secret areas that you couldn't play through originally, as well as the ability to unlock extra content by making new weapons and armor in the shop's synthesis mode. So yes, the game has some rather simple combat. A decent story, but nothing I would say is all that special, and Benkei kinda sucks. But I liked this game. Bosses are fun to fight, levels aren't too long, and neither is the game, so it doesn't feel like it overstays its welcome. And the combat has the sense of fluidity to it that keeps things enjoyable. If you like hack and slash games, I say give Genji a try. And even if you like more complicated action titles, you still might find stuff to like about this game, and you can definitely play better than I do. To whoever it was who recommended Genji to me all those years ago, well, thank you. I had a great time with this game.